original fairy tales are all the same. The princess, the hero. But this story is a little different.
I am the Amazing Maurice.
That cat can talk.
Well, of course. Many of us can.
All right, go, go, go.
So what am I in your story?
You're not handsome enough to be the love interest. Then you're not funny enough for comic relief. Right, I'm off to get my adventure bag. Let's go.
I think I love her.
Looks like a town with opportunities.
It's all quiet.
There aren't any local rats here.
It smells, doesn't it?
Smells like
A mystery.
There has to be a clue that would advance the plot.
The world doesn't have a plot. Things just happen. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm all right because I landed on my head.
You won't believe what we found.
It's a deadly evil.
Ominous.
Don't worry, a cat always lands on its feet.
Ah, Maurice!
Amazing Maurice.
You have to fight it!
Come to me!
What? You'll have to find out the rest yourself. The Amazing Maurice. It's really not your average fairy tale.
Important safety tip. Don't eat a dead rat that just ate something that made it dead.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special bonus episode of Discovers, the only podcast that reads, reviews, and ranks all 41 of Terry Pratchett's Discworld series of comic fantasy novels.
And one terrible movie.
And one film. I'm Iris J. With me are BALINA, Grace, and Nero. Say hi, BALINA, Grace, and Nero.
Hi, BALINA.
Hi, BALINA, Grace, and Nero.
Hi, BALINA, Grace, and Nero.
Hi, BALINA, Grace,
Yeah.
and Nero.
We just watched the movie adaptation of The Amazing Maurice, which came out in, I believe, what was it, 2022?
Yes.
Made by a handful of European animation studios, by Sky
Two of
Media. Yeah. First off, this was made over the pandemic, and I'd just like to state before we get into our thoughts, we
You
literally
can tell.
just finished watching it. I think it's a real testament that the people who created this movie made this over the pandemic. It was probably really difficult for them to make anything at all, and they should feel real proud of themselves that they completed a film. That's very cool of them. Good job. You did it.
Mhm.
Okay, so what do we think of that film?
I hated looking at Maurice's face. They took all the emotional core out of the book. It's no longer about being human. It's about going into the woods to steal a magic flute from Carrot Top.
I was just gonna say that I got dizzy screaming over how angry I got at this. So I thank you for being eloquent about it, Grace.
Happy to help. I've had more time to get my thoughts in order. I pre-gamed
Yeah.
this one.
Nero, you haven't. You said you've only read The Color of Magic, and the rest of the Discworld stuff you've experienced has been movie adaptations and our podcast. What did you think?
I haven't read The Color of Magic. I've read Night Watch.
Oh,
much
sorry.
better.
Yeah, a different one.
Oh wow.
The one good one that was at the library, and I would read it while eating a Subway sandwich. But yeah, it was just that, and then what was the Hogsfather movie, the BBC short, and then whatever you want to call this thing. It was bad. It was terrible.
Oh, good. I was gonna ask. Even if you didn't have us explaining the ways in which it sucks, would you, the uninitiated, the less
Yeah, we
initiated,
can't-
I should say.
Yeah, Grace is too experienced with Discworld to really provide a fresh, hip outsider's perspective to this. So Nero is presenting that, and I'm glad that this sucks from someone who hasn't been marinating in Discworld for like several years now.
It was just I mean, obviously it's a children's movie, but people assume children's movie and they think they can get away with anything. Children are, as someone who used to babysit a lot, children are actually very smart, and they can tell when something is terrible.
This is what really frustrated me because, like, Amazing Maurice was Terry's first attempt to write a book specifically for the young adult crowd, and his book really, despite it being about talking animals, really pointedly goes out of its way to not condescend to kids. It assumes kids are ready to look up words when they don't know them and to really think about some fucked up shit. There's some really fucked up shit in the book, like the room full of screaming cannibalistic rats, or like the rat coursing scene is a lot more intense. Darktan nearly dies. There's so much there's such a darkness, and it's so obviously about like these rats struggling to prove to themselves that they can be more than just base creatures. And in this movie doesn't do anything but condescend to its viewers.
That specifically is why I was screaming earlier, because oh my god. Okay, first they wrote Ham and Pork out completely. He just does not exist. Darktan is just the leader from the start. So
who is he in the book?
In the book, Ham and Pork is one of the older rats who. So the idea is that because the rats are always breeding, the rats who can think are breeding more rats who can think. And Ham and Pork is one of the original rats who originally ate from the magical garbage dump. And he's still very set in his old rat ways, where he's like, we should stick to the darkness.
Old rat yelling at the cloud.
Yeah. We shouldn't be listening to this cat. We shouldn't be listening to kids. We shouldn't be trying to live in harmony with humans. We're rats. We've always been rats. We need to live like rats.
I can see that.
And it's very important because he's the one that gets kidnapped for the coursing scene, and the rescue attempt gets botched, and he fucking dies from his wounds from one of the dogs.
Yeah, and they try to rescue him, and it doesn't work.
Of Darktan's motivation to take over as leader.
Yeah.
Remember, like during the rat coursing scene, they all get away scot-free, and I'm like, oh yeah, that just like in the book, everything goes perfectly well, and everyone's happy, and nothing bad ever happens.
Yeah, nothing bad ever happens.
This horrible trauma where Darktan almost burns the place down and only stops because he has the sense to realize I'm only propagating the cycle of violence if I do this.
He literally has we have to be better than this moment. And
he's got a lit match in his hand in a hayloft and decides against it.
It seems like at least from what I could tell from your reactions, they kind of took the subtext and additional meaning out of every single scene. Each scene is exactly what it is, exactly what the words are, and there's no kind of emotional core to anything.
They falsified it.
It's what drives me nuts about other Pratchett adaptations, even Hogfather, which I quite liked. But the biggest problem with people adapting Pratchett is that they go out of their way to try to capture his writing style, his literary voice details with you can tell this person is playing a humorous aside, or they're saying something that would be a footnote in a book, or they're making some sort of humorous observation or pop culture reference. But they too often miss the forest for the trees, and too often miss what made his writing really special, which is at its best this incredible core of humanism and empathy and this sort of acknowledgement, but striving against this darkness at the center of every character that he wrote. I don't know. It's just so I wouldn't have minded if they had changed things, but for them to completely overlook the entire vibe of the book, and also the rat striving to be human thing, which one is not something that I would deem as too scary for kids, and two is the whole reason why the book is good.
It's the point of the book.
Nuts.
It's if you take that out, what do you have? You have people reading snippets from the book, but without any of their emotional impact. It's you ever come across someone who really thinks they're Douglas Adams? It's the same thing, except even more disappointing.
It is. I do find it very interesting how you can very clearly, even as someone who hasn't read the book, you can very obviously tell what is lines from the book and what are new lines for the movie, because
Yeah.
the new stuff for the movie sounds very different and it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like even the lines they read from the book, it's often like this is just a craft thing. It's just they often take, things that were narration or internal monologue and just have the characters say it,
Yeah.
which is like does not work. You think things you would not say.
Yeah, I also really like, while we're talking about shit we didn't like, I also really want to say, like, I don't like what they did with Militia. I think that Militia shouldn't be allowed to be omniscient. That sucks.
Yeah, they make her the narrator. She explains foreshadowing to us, which I think is an example of girl power, but
Yeah.
the movie kind of hates her, so I think it's also misogynist.
It's interesting because it's named, the Amazing Maurice and his educated rodents, but Maurice really wasn't kind of like the center of
Yeah.
it, which I kind of expected. If they wanted to add an extra framing device or have more narration specifically for the movie, it would be through Maurice specifically.
And he he does it twice in the entire movie.
Yeah,
him and Keith don't basically do anything. They're purely reactive main characters. Militia has to be proactive, because other than that, it would just be Keith and Maurice reacting to things that happen to them, which sucks.
It's not very good.
Also, I'd like to point out they made up the entire. When I mentioned during the podcast that I read the first half of the book, watched the film, and then came back to read the rest of the book, that's a wild thing to read because they just made up the whole second half. Like, they invent a whole back half where they meet the Pied Piper, who is A, Carrot Top, B, has an actual magic flute instead of a dog whistle.
I hated the Pied Piper. I hated that they put a Tumblr sexy man in this
Yeah.
movie. I hate that his pipe really was magic. That was so stupid.
And also, they make Keith and Militia a couple. Like, they keep in the line where she's like, "Oh, you're no romantic interest," but then they make out anyways.
They sorceried that bitch. We just stuck
they
ahead.
even straight up say, "Oh yeah, he's also a really good kisser."
Yeah, does he use tongue?
It is very funny how they made both of them look like the stereotypical this is the Pixar man and woman, where the dude has a giant nose and a funny haircut, and then the girl has just the biggest eyes, like a baby.
I don't want to. Again, I'm very impressed by the animators. They did a great job, and I think they should be applauded. Did you have to make your rats look so much like the fucking rats from Ratatouille? And did you have to make Keith look so much like Linguini from Ratatouille?
Yeah, they linguini'd him.
At least I didn't mind looking at the rats.
Yeah,
Also,
Keith even falls down every 5 seconds he's on screen, just to remind you that it is a comedy kids movie.
He is a buffoon, you see.
Yeah.
Yes.
Flautists kiss better because they turn smooching into music.
Yes.
Mows become F-holes where they can sing their love to someone with their tongues.
This feels like you're filling in Mad Libs here.
No, that's because Faye is.
Yeah, this is the artist fuck better because they put the pussy in the sarcophagus.
Of course.
Yes, I see.
I was sitting here trying to workshop that in, and I just couldn't find a way to make a rat magic joke about it.
Speaking of putting the pussy in the sarcophagus, I also what they did with the Rat King in this movie was very strange.
Yeah,
just making him the secret mastermind of the entire movie. Sure, great.
A, the Rat King is like a bunch of rats in a trench coat. B, he's just there. B, he's they couldn't write that he's pretending to be your thoughts, so they just make him Darth Vader, kind of. He force snaps dangerous Beans' spine. Wanted to say spilled Beans' spine.
Please be nice to Beans.
Yeah, you love some beans.
Yeah, no, it was very odd. He's kind of ineffectual as a villain. He's a lot less scary than he is in the book, because in the book he's mostly just a terrifying voice that people just start hearing in their heads. Like he's like a psychic malaise. Where in this, we were joking that he's Rat Nito. He has rat magnetism powers.
Yeah. Welcome to die, X-Rats.
Yeah. It's very silly. Before we close out, what were some things I want everybody to try to think of one thing they liked about this film?
Mr. Bunzy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm just jumping and stealing that one before anyone else gets it.
I have other things, but yes, the book has these like really nice like Beatrix Potter animations, like nice 2D animations for the Mr. Bunzy segments.
I want to specify when we say the book here, we mean the diegetic book in the film that Militia is reading from in the framing device scenes, which is animated like a Winnie the Pooh style, like old-timey book, and looks gorgeous. If the whole film would look like this, it would have been great.
Yeah. Also, I also want to vent about how like it's in the movie. It's treated as a big reveal that the Mr. Bunzy book is not literally true, and the rats are all like scandalized by this, which just gives them very little credit. But I also thought the 3D rats looked cute. I thought they looked cute.
The part that got me screaming was the fact that in the fucking book, the whole when things get tough, we're all just rats is specifically because Spider and the thousands of rats crammed into too small of cages. The sheer utter primal terror of that drives the rats just absolutely scared shitless to the point that they forget how to talk. That works. That's horrifying. In this one, they have that particular moment, but it's just because they got a little bit shaken up because they ran away from the Rat King. It's just out of nowhere, they just start squabbling with one another, and David Tennant loses all of his faith suddenly for no reason at all.
That I found so strange because, like, okay, so we have owned rats, and we also own 2 cats. When we had rats, they were not like afraid of anything. Like they would climb around on the sofa while one of the cats would try to get up on the side and would run over and just like grab their tails and be like, "This is my couch." Like it's so like I don't.
Yeah.
This movie's doing a disservice to rats.
They're in real life, they're very intelligent and brave little creatures.
They're so smart. They're so smart. It's scary how smart they are.
Yeah. Nero, what would you say was one thing you liked about this film?
I liked when all the little rats put on their little outfits for the first time and I felt joy. And that was the only time I felt joy during this movie.
Understandable.
That's fair.
I do love as someone who is a very big fan of tiny animal and big people world stories like Despero and the Deptford Mice trilogy and all that good shit.
It is the greatest literary genre.
They actually have when we still had hope at the start there, where like they're putting on the clothes and going, these are kind of ridiculous. And Dark Tan goes, yeah, no, but I got to admit, belts are a good idea.
Exactly.
And like, that was one of the moments they actually adapted well. They did that bit properly. And then later going, wow, these clothes kind of suck and get caught on everything. That's why they're not generally wearing clothes in the book.
Yeah, I wish we had more scenes like we did in the book of Dark Tan's basic like rat bomb disposal unit, like figuring out traps and stuff, because that was so neat. It was during writing
great.
Kind of like
this one, he just fumbles ass first into the only trap we ever see.
Yeah. And I like to he doesn't even get squeezed nearly to death and see rat death and invent his sort of rat religion.
So it's in the book there's more to that scene than just he wants the little wind-up rat to do it, and he can't, so he falls over like an idiot.
Mr. Clicky does fuck a clock. Mr. Clicky had sex with a clockupy.
Mr. Clicky had sex with a clock in this movie. So here's another thing. Before I get to the thing I liked, Mr. Clicky in the book. So Mr. Clicky isn't like a person in the book. It's part of the rat's whole like determining that we are sentient. These other things are not. But Mr. Clicky they have several of them that they stole from a pet store that are the wind-up little mouse toys. And they use them to test rat traps to see if they're still armed, or to try to snap them prematurely so they can get around them in case they can't immediately defuse them. And that's like using them is still kind of tense because they only have a limited supply and you can't really repair them. Once they're crushed, they're crushed. So like, and they do snap one of the little Mr. Clickies during the book. In the movie, it's like sentient somehow.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make sense because we're already talking about animals that had to have a specific explanation for why they can think and be sentient. But here's a machine that's sentient, but that's not the point of the fucking.
It was all beautiful and cute when they were all like cheering, "Go, Mr. Clicky, go!" Like that was great. But then suddenly it gets an attitude and refuses to go into the perfectly humane trap.
It's sentient, it can fuck, and it bit Carrot Top's dick off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So
It somehow bit Carrot Top's dick.
So in that respect, it was girl bossing. I mean, you do love to see it. Mr. Clicky is an honorary combat doll if you think about it.
Anyways, my thing that I liked was that they actually did put in a tiny reference to the rat language at the end. Just a little one, not a consequential one. I would have liked it to be a consequential one, but a little one is better than none at all.
Yeah, because that would that would have required the film to actually draw on its themes of like what it means to be human, what it means to be a person.
Yeah.
What it means.
I guess I liked seeing Rincewind and Two Flower. I don't know.
Yeah, it is
Disgusting.
nice. You love to see the boyfriends.
I think it's a shame they didn't find a way to shoehorn in the librarian. I think that would have been great.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the ape?
Yeah,
if there are no rules to who is and isn't going to be shown as sentient, why not get the fucking ape from the library in here? Why not?
You're telling me you had 2 Rincewinds, you shoot, and the Unseen University specifically, and you couldn't even put an ape in there? Was he too hard to draw? Too hard to
The librarian doesn't show up for anything that isn't a literary adaptation. That's how much he likes books.
Once again, the librarian is the wisest and smartest of us all.
It's true. Anyways, thank you all for listening to this brief bonus episode of Discovers. Please join us next time for Night Watch. That
I have read that one.
You have read it. You can listen to us talk about it, and then you can decide whether we're right or incredibly wrong, like most of our listeners do. Nero,
we're going to get a good score in podcast, which is both possible and a reasonable thing to want.
Yippee! 10 out of 10.
Nero, before we go, why don't you tell people where they can find you?
Oh, you can. I have a website because I'm a normal person, so you can find all my stuff at itsnero.com.
Wise.
Cool.
It's all pornography. Don't load it up at work.
Yeah. And you can find us in the regular places. Also want to give a shout out. We have a website, discpod.xyz, or XYZ if you're in England, that Nero actually coded for us. Thank you, Nero.
It's .fun.
It's .fun. Discpod.fun.
It's .fun, yeah.
Yes, there we go.
Discpod.xyz. It's .fun.
Thank you.
Anyways, have a good night. Keep on disking. Don't watch this movie.
Christ, don't watch this movie.
Good night.
Follow your dreams, everybody.